everybody, and welcome to patch 12.20 preview part 1. As a reminder to everyone how these works, even though evidently nobody ever listens to me, part 1 are the upcoming changes with just who and what is being changed listed. Part 2 will come out tomorrow, and I hope you guys come to that one because we have some cool changes listed here actually. Part 2 will have the actual changes listed out, not just what's being changed. Now part 3 is when the actual patch goes live. As a reminder to everyone, part 1 and part 2 are just previews, okay? If nothing goes into the game until the actual patch notes come out. That will be in about 1 week. 7 days from now. So until it's 7 days from now, these changes won't be live. Now I know all of you are tired of me going over this, but I assure you, no one listens to me anyway, so y'all are gonna think these changes are live right when I tell you them. So anyway, I call this the punishment patch. Top laners must have done something awful because Riot wants us to suffer and hurt. They hate us. I want to remind everyone that until the actual patch notes come out, Riot typically does listen to feedback and listen to all that stuff. So it's good to give Riot feedback on this stuff. Riot, why do you hate us? Why do you hate top laners? So let's go over why this patch sucks as top laners. Riot is buffing Jace. If you've never fought Jace, Jace is one of the most frustrating piece of shit motherfuckers that this game has ever seen. He goes top lane, he destroys every melee pick, he has no real counterplay. If he does have counterplay, if you do have slows, then he just goes phase rush and he immunes your slows. He takes over the meta pretty much every single time he's viable. If he's viable for even the slightest time, Jace destroys the meta. I don't think Riot should buff Jace. I hope they don't buff Jace because all he will do is take over the meta. QR, Q. The champion is getting buffed. Why did I say it like that? Because all Wukong does is QR, Q, and you're dead from full with no counterplay. And they're buffing him. And even to this day, he still Qs and kills you from full. Riot thinks that top laners haven't been hurt enough by something, I don't know. They're punishing me. They're punishing me for what? I don't know. But Wukong top is being buffed. Gwen top is being buffed. Because the last time they buffed Gwen top, she had to get nerfed because she dominated pro play. But then before that, when they buffed her, she had to be nerfed because of pro play and at the high ranks. And then before that, she had to get nerfed because of pro play in the high ranks. And then before that, she had to get nerfed because of pro play. Anyway, so what Riot is doing this time is they're just gonna buff her, and I promise you, they're gonna buff some wacky random thing, and they're gonna end up having to nerf it again. We all know it's true, okay? We all know it's true. It's gonna happen. I promise you. I don't even know why they're putting champion buff here. It should just be champion nerf waiting room. It should be champion buffs Gwen, and then down here champion nerfs also Gwen. They should just save some time and nerf her right after you buff her in the same patch. Just make it 2 different patch notes. It's a joke, man. Okay, Evelyn's getting buffed because, okay, see, here's the thing. They buffed Graves, and because they buffed Graves, then they had to go ahead and they had to buff every jungler in the entire game because every jungler is now underpowered because Graves is so overpowered. Instead of nerfing Graves, they've opted to buff every jungler. If I was a teacher, I would give Riot homework. I'd be like, here, Riot, here's your homework. I want you every week to give me a new jungler that you're gonna nerf, okay? And if you start nerfing a jungler every single week, Riot, you can actually get the jungle to be balanced. It might take you a year, but after you nerf like 30 junglers and you decrease the power level on jungle substantially, you might actually get it to be balanced. Instead of this weird thing where you're like, we need to buff every jungler because we keep buffing every jungler. You guys do realize that's how power creep works, right? Like fundamentally, that is literally how power creep works, right? You don't buff every jungler because you buffed every jungler. You start nerfing them back down. Like, do you see how you're nerfing 3 top laners here? Imagine instead of nerfing 3 top laners, imagine they were buffing 3 top laners. In fact, Screw it. Okay, you know what? Here's my homework. What are you nerfing? You're nerfing Set, Aatrox, and Maokai? Screw it. Let's buff. Who are some of the most frustrating, stupid top laners of my life? Let's buff Jax and Fiora and screw it. Buff Camille again. I mean, she's not good enough yet, right? Right? I mean, she was only a top 3 pick, and then you buffed Camille. Yeah, I'm still salty about that. So maybe do that. They're buffing Ziggs because. Okay, I'll be fair on Ziggs. Okay, I'll be fair on this one. They're buffing Ziggs because he's awful. He's really bad right now, man. Ziggs is just not a good champion. I'll be fair on that one. They're buffing Rammus. Okay, they actually said something. I'm not gonna go look it up, but they said something where like they adjusted him and it actually like undershot the mark or something. I'm not really sure. I don't really know Rammus, and I don't play Rammus, and I barely fight Rammus. I think I fought him once today, and that's it for like the last month or so. I don't know. So I don't really have an opinion on Rammus. If I never fight him, like if I never fight him at the high rank, then he's probably not very good. Like I'll give you that. I'll give you that. If no one ever plays him, he's probably not very good. The nerfing Set, I want to look this one up. Riot, why are you nerfing Set? I thought Set was fine. I thought we were cool, Riot. Oh, cool. Okay, he's like the second highest pick, but like, yeah, he's Set. He's always going to be the second highest pick. He just got his new Inuyasha skin. Oh no, he's 51.8% win rate at the low ranks. Who gives a shit? He's Set. He's always 51.8% win rate, right? Like, you got Nasus down here at 52%. You got Mord at 51.8%, right? Like, why can't we just have a viable top 5 Set at the high ranks? Why you gotta do this, right? Why you gotta do this? Could you not do this? Like, all seriousness, right? Could you not nerf Set? I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, why aren't you gonna defend Aatrox? Well, because, like, Set, man, like he's cool, like he's actually balanced and fine right now. He's like the teeny tiniest bit too overpowered at the low ranks, so you're gonna go ahead and throw him into the nerf pile? Like, come on, right? Like, don't nerf Set, man. Don't do it. He's cool. Don't do it. Like, I want to play Set one day. I was gonna get around to it, okay? It's like, you know, I was gonna get around to spending time with you know, one of my rats when I was young. Mice, guinea pigs. I had some of those rodents, and then they died, right? And I wish I'd spent more time with them. And this is what you're doing to me, Ryan. I wish I'd spent more time with Set. I didn't think he was gonna get nerfed. I thought I had time, right? I thought I had time. Anyway, Aatrox is being nerfed because, well, I mean, I'm not going to spend too much time. We'll probably, like, tomorrow, I'll probably spend more time on Aatrox. For now, like, I'm tired, man. It's late at night. I probably started doing these too late at night, but, like, for now, I'm going to save my thoughts for tomorrow. Like, come back tomorrow for part 2 when we actually know what they're going to nerf. Like, I don't know what they're gonna do, so like I could get outraged about the totally wrong thing, but the issue here is that they buffed Aatrox's durability, they nerfed his healing, they buffed his durability, they nerfed his healing, and now he's just going Eclipse, and he's just building pure damage. And the issue here, right, is you lowered the skill cap on Aatrox substantially. Because now any idiot can go play Aatrox because he's just so tanky. But you don't actually rely that much on cool combos, on Gore Drinker, on any of that stuff. Like, suck my dick, Aatrox players. You know I'm right. Like, when Aatrox is tanky, when he gets to build these pure damage items, he heals a lot. And he does is a pure sense. Like, if he built the same pure damage build, he would heal more in the past than he would now. Yes. But the thing is, because he's so much tankier now, there's so much a lower risk to building this damage build, and in the end, it's just made him really, in my opinion, obviously overpowered. I think a lot of people agree on that. How overpowered? Well, okay, he's not like that overpowered. Like, to be fair, he could probably be fixed with like 5 less health per level. Like, to be fair, right? Like, but the thing is, the current build, a lot of people just find it really unfun to fight because you basically get on top of him, and in the past, if a champion got on top of Aatrox, they would just kill him. He would just die, right? But now you get on top of Aatrox and he just does passive hit, Q doesn't crit it, auto, Q doesn't crit, auto, Q, ease it into crit it, passive hit, and you're dead. And he was just like out healing through his 2 passive hits. He just like out healed all your damage and shit, and you're just like, this is lame. And yeah, I do agree, it's actually kind of lame right now. Instead of relying on kiting and multiple combos, he's just sort of queuing, and in my opinion, it's actually far less interesting. I think the full damage Aatrox that got far more base durability, it's far less interesting. When I think back to like even 2 years ago before the item rework, you know, it was like a huge risk to go with a damage build on Aatrox, because like if you went with Cyrilda's, like yeah, you're not Cyrilda's, but you know what I mean, the Last Whisper or whatever it was called back then. Was it Lord Dominic's? And then it was Cyrilda's later. Anyway, before the durability update, I'll just say that. Before the durability update, Aatrox was a lot squishier. And so if you went with a damage build, you were doing a high risk reward. Now, you guys know me. I went with the Cyrilda's build quite often. I went with the Lord Dominic's build quite often. But it was risky, and that made it exciting because you could die really easy. But the rewards were massive. The you know, high risk, high reward, that was Aatrox. Now you could always go with a more tanky build. Sure, now you weren't like that tanky, but you would go with the more tanky build, right? But right now it feels like it's like he's been watered down so much that he's just sort of like I don't know the right way to put it. It's like they lowered the rewards substantially, but then they also lowered the risks substantially. So it kind of like I still love Aatrox. I still love playing him, but I wish they would do something to like, you know, because it's like he just sort of feels like Riven. Ugh. He just sort of like such a low risk. Like I ran in there and I'm gonna be done with that. Maokai is getting nerfed because I don't know, like he's annoying, I guess. Is being annoying a reason to nerf a champion? Maokai is like, his win rate is really good, but I'm gonna be dead honest, I don't feel like he's overpowered. Here's my opinion. I feel like he's just like, I think he's just a really good champion, and I play top lane, okay? And I don't only play champions. By the way, I've played Maokai, I've played against Maokai, I've played against Maokai with champions that are good into him, bad into him. I don't think that like he's overpowered. I think he's got a high win rate, and I don't know why. I don't like he's a good solid pick. I don't know why his win rate is out of line, but me personally. And here's the thing, I know a lot of people think I just look at win rates and then I'm like, they're underpowered or they're overpowered based on their win rates. But no, and with Maokai, I don't think that he's overpowered. I don't know why his win rate is that high, but it's like Ornn's win rate's been pretty high for a while now, right? And no one, like, yeah, Ornn is annoying, but isn't it fine for other champions to join the Ornn club, so to speak, of champions that just have high win rates but don't get nerfed? I mean, I think it's fine to have champions with high win rates who don't get nerfed. If they're more on the simple end, like Maokai, isn't it fine? Particularly because you look at a champion like Malphite, right? Malphite is overbearing and oppressive as shit. When you have a simple champion like Malphite dominating the autofill or low skill category, that can be very frustrating to the players who are actually trying to enjoy top lane. But Maokai is kind of, like, his current balance, I would say that he's not really that bad a deal, right? Like he's fine, right? So I don't know, man. I don't like them nerfing Set, Aatrox, or Maokai. I can understand Aatrox, I just don't think they're gonna do it in the right way. But I don't like them nerfing any of them. Any of these champions, I don't like them doing it. Okay, champion adjustments. Elise Q, range, quality of life. I can't even begin to guess what that means because I don't play Elise and I don't speak whatever this means. Does this mean they're buffing her range? I'm going to assume they're not nerfing Elise, so I assume that means Elise Q range, quality of life. Does that mean, I mean, I can't begin to guess. Do they mean her like human Q, her spider Q? I don't know. Blitzcrank, support versus jungle. I'm gonna imagine, just guesstimating here, they're gonna be nerfing Blitzcrank support and buffing his jungle because jungle Blitzcrank did not become a thing. Unfortunately for Riot, jungle Blitzcrank is still, you're basically trolling. You're basically trolling. I mean, you're not literally trolling, but you're like 90% trolling. Mortal Reminder is getting buffed because Riot tried to buff it, and then like I reminded them that Mortal Reminder was a giant stat stick being used for stat sticking on champions like Garen, and Riot was like, oh, we'll push that back then. We don't want to break anything. And now they're back and buffing it. So I guess they were serious. They were pushing it back. Sturg's Gauge is being buffed, which is a good thing, actually. I think it's a very good thing. Sturg's Gauge right now is pretty goddamn underpowered. It's usable on Olaf. That's it. That's the joke. The joke is it's only usable on Olaf. And Olaf is not particularly amazing right now as is. Now, for those of you who do play Aatrox and who made it this long in the video, I'm going to throw you a solid here. And I'm going to spend most of my time talking about Aatrox in the next patch, but I will tell you, the nerf to up your lethal tempo and frozen heart, these are actually going to be really good for Aatrox. Because who does he struggle with the most right now? Lethal tempo. Who does he struggle with? Champions who can go frozen heart and tank through him. So, you know, like as a bone here, the lethal tempo nerfs actually do... It does help a lot of his matchups right now that he does struggle in. As for Demonic Embrace is being adjusted. Why? Well, I mean, to be honest, probably because it's being used way too much I think Demonic Embrace is being used enforced way too much on way too many tank builds, and Riot probably doesn't want it that way, but they kind of pushed it to be used that way through all the changes they did. They have pushed so many tanks to have high AP ratios, and then they pushed Demonic Embrace to be used on tanks. So the fact that they're now adjusting it, which might mean that they don't want it to be used on so many different tanks, it's like they painted their room red and then they were like, oh man, I forgot, I hate red paint. And you're just like, but okay. So that's patch 12.20. Come back tomorrow. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. Come back tomorrow because I will, when these changes are actually out, I'm going to talk about these way more in depth, because some of these things like the lethal tempo nerf, the frozen heart nerf, the Sturg's Gauge buff, the Aatrox set Maokai nerfs, like the Gwen, like all these, a lot of these changes are actually, Riot's put out a bunch of dud patches lately that have a lot of changes that don't do anything, that sort of like they fill up a patch note but they don't do anything. So this is a patch that definitely looks like it could actually do something. So make sure to come in tomorrow and we'll talk about them when they actually come out. For Riot, just as a thought, maybe just don't buff Gwen this time, like, because I like Gwen. I mean, not really. I actually find her kind of really boring to play, to be honest with you, but I'm sure some people like Gwen, and you always get their hopes up, right? You do. You always get their hopes up, and then you just dash their hopes once you nerf her. So could you actually, like, and this is just for the good of Gwen players, could you actually like do your, I'm gonna be mean here, could you actually do your goddamn job and like actually rebalance Gwen in a meaningful way? Could you add enough counterplay to her ultimate into her Q by increasing the cast time on her ultimate perhaps, and increasing the cast time on her Q such that good players can actually try to dodge out of them? Because right now you can't, and because of that, she's an extremely consistent, good frontline champion anti-tank for competitive play. And again, because of that, she dominates at the high rank and she dominates in competitive play. So Riot, what you need to do is you need to do your goddamn job. Okay, I'm sorry I'm being mean here. Okay, I don't mean to be too mean, but do your goddamn job and actually adjust some shit that we all know is a problem. We all understand this, right? It is your job, so do it, okay? Don't just be like, make number higher. No, now number too high. Make number lower. Like, okay, so that's gonna be it for this video. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. I hope you all enjoyed this one. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Goodbye, everybody.